Welcome to Book Formatting Made Easy. One of the first things that you need to know is the trim size or the book size if you're going to format a book. Very often, new authors, they don't know the book size, and as a formatter, you will have to help them to determine that. So as was given in your homework, I ask that you take out a tape measure and look at the sizes of 3 different books on your bookshelf. So if you measured using the tape measure, you would find, you would take the vertical and the horizontal. Now, usually when we talk in book lingo, or when you're looking at the page layout, the page setup in Microsoft Word, you're going to see width and height. And usually when we talk about the width first before the height. So 5, you can measure that book. It would be 5.25 across and 8 vertically. That's the height. 5 by 5 times 8 by 5. These are some of the popular sizes. 6 by 9, 4.25. And the book sizes also, or the trim size, depends on the platform that you're going to publish or print through. So since Amazon is the most popular one, I'm going to give you the sizes here. If you choose sizes smaller than these, Amazon will not distribute your book across its expanded distribution, meaning they have other bookstores and online retailers, libraries and academic institutions. They have particular book sizes or trim sizes. And if you're going to publish through Amazon, those are not allowed. But if you use like Ingram Spark or other platforms, they will have a wider array of trim sizes. So if you want your book to go on expanded distribution and not just available on Amazon.com, the minimum that the book size has to be is 5 by 8. And you could also do the conversion to centimeters. I prefer to work in inches. So when we say 5 by 8, we're talking inches. And we're saying this 5 here is 5 across and 8 vertical, or the height. So these are the different sizes. And you'd have to look on your shelf to see what the different sizes are. So these are the available sizes, maybe about 13 of them that you find on Amazon. So if I have a pocket size book, which is like 4.25 times 6, some of those Daniel Steele's novels and Mills and Boon's novels, if you're from way back then, those were smaller, 4.25 times 8. Here's another graphic representation. All right, so now we're seeing the sizes. So you can think of the books that you have on your shelf and which one matches it. So smaller books, in terms of the word count has a lot to do with what size that you use. So if your word count is 10,000 or less, the pocket size book would be the best choice. And that is if it's not a workbook, because workbooks very often we use 6 by 9. Or you could even use 7.5 times 7 by 5. This is square. 8 by 5 times 8 by 5 is often the size of many children's books. Square size. It could also be for a workbook. These larger sizes. So it depends if it is a magazine. You have to know what you're choosing. So these are the different sizes. Now, if your book is between 10,000 and 50,000 words, I would say comfortably use any of the 5 by 8 sizes. So preferably 5.25 or 5 by 5. 5 by 5.5 times 8 by 5. So it has a little bit more width. 5 by 8 is often very narrow. So we tend to add some inches to it so that it doesn't look so narrow. If the word count is, I say, 40,000 and over to 100,000, 6 by 9 would be better. I have seen persons use 6 by 9 for smaller books, but what you end up with is a book that has a very thin spine. So I tend to say if your book is less than 40,000 words, don't use 6 by 9 unless it's a workbook where you're going to have spaces for them to write on. So you have to look at the word count, look at the books that you prefer and measure them, then pass this on to the graphic designer, because as a formatter, you are also going to need this so that you can do the page setup for the final output. So both the cover designer needs this information as well as the formatter. So that's the first thing you need to do if you're going to do print formatting. You need to choose your book size, and you need to know which part is the width versus the height. So when we talk, you hear persons talk about book sizes, they say 4 by 6. So the first number that they call is usually the width, and the second number is usually the height, and you can specify. So 6 by 9 would be 6 across, 9 horizontal. This one down here would be, this is square, so it's the same all around. 10 by 10 is square. This size is like Reader's Digest, this one that I'm pointing at. This one 9 by 7, landscape size. Again, the 9 would be the width, the 7 would be the height. So I trust that that has been helpful.